This guy generating $6,000 a month in profit, equivalent to $72,000 a year in profit. All right, let me tell you a quick story. Recently, I was in the middle of a coaching call for my Freight Broker Sales Accelerator. That's my Freight Broker Sales training program. It's a coaching program. I don't want to dive into that. There'll be a link on the screen here somewhere where you guys can get on the wait list. But I was on a call. One of my clients came up and was telling me about his sales process. And he was telling me about a scenario where, he had been contacting a lot of prospects, doing a lot of outreach, phone and email, and even face-to-face, and that he had 3 prospects in particular that he had bought lunch for, right? That he had went out and invested some of his own money and bought lunch. And he said, 2 out of 3 of those prospects didn't give me any business, and I'm not sure if I'm going to continue to invest in the lunches or to invest in meals or to invest like that into prospects. And all of a sudden, I went ding, 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 ding. Wait a minute. Hold on a minute. Hold the phone. Slow down. I got to ask you some questions. So I started out and I asked him, I said, let me ask you a question. How much did the meals cost you total for those 3 prospects? And he said, maybe $250, 250. Okay, so let's round it up to $300, I said. Explain to me about the 1 prospect that did give you business, because you said 2 of the 3 didn't give you an opportunity, but 1 of them did. He said, well, it started off kind of slow. And, we were doing a couple loads a month here and there, but now I've worked up to where I'm doing 20 loads a month. And I said, okay, 20 loads a month. Great. What's the average profit on those loads? And he looked at me and he said, he did some quick math and he said, maybe about $300 a load. And all of a sudden I'm sitting here thinking, okay, this guy generating $6,000 a month in profit, equivalent to $72,000 a year in profit from this exercise. And so I said to him right now, I looked him right in the face and I said, listen, sounds to me like you need to buy more lunches. You need to buy more meals. You need to do this more often. And he looked at me and I don't think he completely understood what I was saying. So I explained to him, I said, listen, you have to understand something. You just took a $300 investment and you turned it into over $72,000 a year. That's better than the best investors in the world, including guys like Warren Buffett. And so all of a sudden he started to get it and I saw his eyes light up and it was kind of like an epiphany. That's when I knew he got it, right? He had realized that he took a small investment of $300 and he had turned it into $72,000 a year. And so the light bulb went on. So what we did is we sat down and we talked specifically about how he could replicate this process. And if he was able to replicate this process, how it would have a huge and profound impact on his business. And so at that point, it was obvious that, he wasn't upset about investing a few $100s. Matter of fact, I think he was excited to go out there and start buying as many lunches as he could, because he realized that type of an investment can have a huge, huge impact on your business. So let's just run the math back a little bit one more time. He invested $300. He got 1 client, and that client generates $72,000 a year. Let's scale it back a little bit. Let's say he only was able to get 1 client out of 10 meals, right? And he had to invest $1,000 into meals, right? Meeting with those clients face-to-face and having lunch. And that he was able to get a $72,000 investment. Who here would invest $1,000 to get a $72,000 return? If you have hands, raise them. Raise them in the comments, because if you're not raising your hands, I don't think math is your strong suit. You might want to brush up on that a little bit. That's an incredible investment. Well, let's look at it. Let's scale it back even further. Let's say, for example, he didn't get a $72,000 a year shipper, which is a pretty good sized client. Let's say he got a small shipper that was doing 1 load a month at $200 in profit. That's still turning a $300 investment into over $10,000 a year in profit. So you can see here how this type of equation can really, skyrocket and catapult your business in a huge way, right? So here are the 3 lessons. I want you to lean in really quick, because there's 3 lessons I want to share with you that you can take away from this and ultimately leverage to apply to your business. So understand something up front. This is very important. Not every prospect is going to buy. I don't care whether you're on the phone with them, via email, through LinkedIn, or face-to-face. I don't care if you bought them lunch. Not every prospect is going to buy. And so you got to understand that up front. That's important. That's a baseline. That's fundamental. Number two, investing in relationships can have huge dividends on the back end, can pay a huge return on investment. I just explained to you, from low to high, how that might work. Right? So there's a huge investment. If you're able to invest in those relationships will have a huge and profound impact on your business. And number three, this is really important. Lean in. Getting face-to-face with prospects in a face-to-face environment at their location or at a third off-site party or wherever it is, okay? Getting face-to-face with a prospect is like having a cheat code for sales. Here's why. A couple of reasons. A, most freight brokers don't do much face-to-face sales. There's not a lot of face-to-face sales when it comes to freight brokerage. So you immediately stand out from the crowd. That's number one. Number two, face-to-face is much better for building real relationships, right? Again, it's kind of like a cheat code. When you're face-to-face, you are able to build rapport faster. You're able to build trust faster, right? So that's another component. And then the last but not least is, statistically speaking, face-to-face sales will close 2 to 3 times more effective than just remote phone sales, okay? So what you got to understand is that those are just a few reasons, a few examples of how getting face-to-face, how investing in those relationships can have a huge ROI. So what's your biggest takeaway? What I want to know is this, and now you've heard this story, what's your biggest takeaway? Hit me up in the comments. Or more importantly, maybe you've got a story about a client that you got recently or a prospect that you're working on and you're baffled. Hit me up in the comments and let's chat about that, because these are the types of things that can have a huge impact on your business. Again, these are sales strategies. These are relationship building strategies. These are things that build trust in a way to eliminate a lot of that fear and friction in acquiring new customers as a freight broker or a freight agent. So listen, if you guys are curious about becoming a freight broker or a freight agent and you're looking for some help, go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com, trained over 10,000 students in that program. Many of those students have went on to build 6 and 7 figures. Some of them have built 8-figure businesses. We're well known to be the most cost-effective and comprehensive online freight broker and freight agent training program. You can check that out at freightbrokerbootcamp.com. And we offer an unconditional 60-day, 100% money-back guarantee. So you have zero risk. So you can check that out at freightbrokerbootcamp.com. If you guys are looking for sales help, if you're looking for specific help on how to get shippers and you'd like to understand what my Freight Broker Sales Accelerator is, that's where I take that piece of my brain. I teach you everything I know about freight broker sales. I share my entire system on how I did over $200 million as a freight broker, and you can get on the wait list for that at freightbrokerbootcamp.com/waitlist. Look forward to seeing you. Make sure you hit the like button, share, and we'll see you on the next live.